Hello everyone. So let's see seventh lesson now. So when we think about seventh lesson, that is creative communication. So up to there we have discussed different things about the communication and also about the media. So now you have to learn about the how we can use this communication creatively, right? So let's see most important points in this lesson. First thing you have to learn about creative communication. So what do you mean by creative communication? The dissemination of a message to an intended receiver in the way that is most understandable. So in order to understand clearly a message, when we transfer any message, that message must be clear and also have the power to understand that clearly, right? So in order to do that one, we need this creative communication. Then what? Creativity means what? The use of imagination or original ideas to create something inventively, right? So that is creativity. You need to understand those key points, that means creativity, creative communication, those things, because they may be asking about that through different ideas, right? Then Leo Tolstoy has mentioned about the term art. So he has defined art, the term art, as an entity as aesthetically graded by a person from areas such as rhythms, lines, colors, sounds, as well as the combination of words, right? So that is art, right? Through the rhythms, through the lines, colors, sounds, combination of words, they have created this art, right? So you need to remember those things also. Actually remember that person, Leo Tolstoy. Then you have Professor A.V. Suravira. So his book is Kalawe Yanu Kumakda, so you need to remember that name. Then Sunandra Mahendra, he says his book is Nirmanatmaka Sannivedana. You need to remember those two. Then you have James Watson's intention was to explain 10 facts that can be realized through creative communication. So here you have 10 facts. You need to remember them also, because sometimes in MCQs they are asking about these key facts which has explained by this person, James Watson. Okay, so he made an artist draw a human figure with its arms stretched, given each of their finger a fact or a point, right? So what he has done? He has drawn a human figure and two hands, and in each hand, there are 5 fingers. So in each finger, it denotes that finger, each finger denotes one fact, one point which related to this creative communication. So let's see what are those 10 facts. First one, it says creative communication helps problem solving. Creative communication develops motivation. Creative communication helps enthusiasm. Creative communication helps generate ideas. Creative communication helps challenge the obvious. So these are the things that you need to remember as the first 5 points or facts related to creative communication. So we use creative communication in order to solve problems, right? In order to develop motivations, right? In order to have a fun, right? In order to generate different ideas. So these are the things that you have to remember about the creative communication. Then here it has mentioned as belonging to one hand of creativity, while the following are in the other in that creativity. So here they have he has mentioned about the creativity. Here it says creativity is exploration. Creativity is vital in group work. Creativity helps appreciate creativity in others. Creativity is open-ended and divergent. Creativity provides work satisfaction. Okay, so you need to remember these kind of thing in order to answer some MCQs. Maybe they are asking in the second part also, right? So this is by James Watson. The basics of creativity. So you need to remember these basics, these kinds, these characteristics or components in this creativity, right? So in order to understand the concept, creativity. However, the creative work, that means the creation, the creative thought, that means creative thinking, the artist or the creator, and the creative composition are important. So these are the facts that you have to understand in order to understand the basics in this communication, this creativity. Okay, so the first thing is creation. So what is that? The creative work means not existed before, right? Creation means what? Actually, creation means not existed before. The act or process of making something that is new, we call it as creation. So this is from Oxford Dictionary. Then the second point, that is creativity. Creativity. Okay, so you need to remember that also. What do you mean by that? Creativity is the skill and the strength a creative artist possesses to craft a creation. It is known as intuition. So you need to remember that word intuition, because sometimes they are asking about this intuition. So you need to remember that is equal to this creativity. Okay, so Leonardo da Vinci has mentioned about these 7 elements of creativity. Actually, you know, Leonardo da Vinci, artist, musician, like that way you can remember these 7 elements, right? I'll show those things in the MCQ part also, how they are applied in the MCQs. So there are 7 elements of creativity. First one is curiosity, then demonstration, sensation, sfumato, balance of art and science, balance of body and mind, connections. So these are the 7 elements of creativity showed by Leonardo da Vinci. Okay, so you need to remember those 7 elements. After that one, in addition, they have provided these kind of thing. That is why they are making questions by getting these all facts from these Leonardo da Vinci's facts, and also with these additional parts. So what are the additional parts? First one, it says sensation, then imagination, cognition, perception, reappraisal, then topical exploration, constant practice, skills and use. So you need to remember these additional factors also, because sometimes they may be asking about that. So you need to remember these things, and also what do you mean by them, and also some examples related to them. Okay, so that is about the creativity. Then you have creative thinking, that means the thought, right? The creation comes to be as a self-expression of a creator. To this end, the creator makes use of his experiential knowledge that comes to him in 3 main ways. So what are those 3 main ways? First one is one's own experience. We can construct a creative story, or it is something like that, creative communication through one's own experience, and also experience of others. The third one is media or other experiences. Graham Walls in 1926, in his work The Art of Thought, identifies 4 stages related to the process of creative thinking. So sometimes they are asking about these 4 stages, so you need to remember them separately. Preparation, incubation, illumination and verification. So what are they? Preparation, incubation, elimination and verification. So you need to remember those things also in order to understand this concept, that means this creative thinking, that is from Graham Walls. Okay, so after that one, you have creator. So who is that? That is the person who are doing this creative work, no? So creative artist is the creator of a creative work. Oxford Dictionary defines a creator as the person who has made or invented a particular thing. Okay, so you can remember these kind of definition in order to understand the concept, and also you can use those things in the examination also. Okay, so remember them, that's okay. So person who has made or invented a particular thing, that is creator. Then you have creative writing, right? Creative writing, in the examination they are paying more attention on this writing, creative writing, the language, right? So creative writing is a piece of writing that is done by a creative artist with a style. It could be a narrative, a novel, a short story, a poem, or any creative work. Creative use of language and the creativity is different publishing media. So now when we think about the television media, so the difference is there with the newspaper creativity. So you can see how they differ with each other. Then the most outstanding achievement of man in the history of civilization is creating the human language. With the advent of language, human communication developed rapidly. The use of creative language, the creativity of the language is built upon speaking. That means speaking, you can remember another word, oral, then listening, oral, and writing, and also reading. So you can remember those four skills. So what are they? Speaking, listening, writing, and reading, right? So that is the main components in the language: speaking, listening, writing, and reading. In print media, the basis is the written language, while visual images are used as well. Okay, you can remember those kind of thing when you are learning about the languages in different medias. Then television language is considered as the extension of audio and visual languages. Then television language such as the realistic approach in teledrama and the psychological approach in advertisement. So you can see realistic approach in the teledramas and psychological approach in advertisements. Then image is considered as the language of cinema, while editing is regarded as grammar. Okay, so you can remember that quote. Okay, so here you can say the language, image is the language and grammar is the editing. Okay, and then cinematic language is considered as an extremely powerful creative semantic. Okay, newspaper and the use of creative language. So in newspapers you can see how they are using language in a creative way. So in order to use those kind of thing, they use text and images. The making of a text is visible in the news, features, and advertisements. So what are these three parts? So here it says news and also features and advertisements. So when you think about news, you can say a simple and straightforward language is used in the news. And news features include feature articles, columns, editorials, short stories, comics, right, criticisms and discussions, opinions, photography, film descriptions. Those kind of thing we can call as features, not advertisement. Okay, the editorial denotes the opinion orientation of the news. It is known as editor's note as well. So you need to remember that also. There was a question from this also. I will discuss that one in the next session. Okay, for feature articles, catchy headings can be appropriated to attract readers, right? You can see those examples also. A column can be presented in the form of a letter, narrative, descriptive report, or a verse, right? So you can see those kind of thing when you are reading a newspaper. Then advertisements are there. Significant advertisements take up a large area of the newspaper, while the classified uses a small space, right? So you can see actually there are so many advertisements, they get a whole page, right? So you can see those kind of things. Then you have books and prose. Books are a creative print media: novel, short story, poem, verse, right, biography, explorative accounts, right, and also translations. Those kind of thing we can call them as the books, right? Then periodicals or magazines. Magazines and periodicals are aimed at taking a target audience into consideration, right? So target audiences, they are not like other media, but here these kind of magazines, they target one audience, maybe boys, maybe girls, maybe women, maybe just Buddhism. Okay, the people who are using those kind of thing, and also maybe kids, right, young people, like that way different set of target audience is there. Electronic media, creativity and the use of creative language as sound medium. So here radio broadcasting is that. The language of the media envelopes the human voice as well as music, natural sounds, sound effects and silence as well. There are various types of program formats involved. They include areas such as news, songs, commercial advertisements, radio plays, right, reports, magazine, programs. So actually nowadays you are not listening to radio, so you can read these kind of thing and you can understand the way how this radio is acting, alright, right, as a media. Then you have television. So you know television uses sound and visual. And cinema, so when we think about cinema, the main categories of cinema include action, right, adventure, animation, right. So like that there are different themes, you know, music, romance, science fiction, thriller, war, like that there are different things. So you can remember those things, you can search about those kind of thing, and you can see how they are differ. Then camera distances and angles are there, so you need to remember those things. Close up, right, be close up, you can see those things through different examples. Medium close up, long shot, high angle, low angle, like that way we use those kind of things. Actually high angle we use in order to represent the actually the poor people. You know, if you need to denote poor people, so we can get a high angle. And low angle means just a victory, or someone has won the match, so we can get a low angle in order to represent his power. Okay, so those are the things that you have to remember. So let's do a differentiation on this shorts. Okay, then theater. The activities on the theater stage in the creative context, the basic components are laid down as. So here you can see how they have categorized into different components. Literary sources are there, and technological sources are there, performance sources are there. In the first instance, it is necessary to formulate the thought, theme and idea in a creative manner. Secondly, the action comes to the forefront together with the plot. Thirdly, the selection of the characters or the cast is important in the area, and the personality of the character is laid emphasis. With the age factor, the appearance, the social background and the use of language, all these have to be added into this kind of creative manner. Then fourthly, the audience too plays a vital role. The action and skills of the performer goes hand in hand with the psychological aspects of the audience in a creative manner. Fifthly, the advent of the musical area plays a significant role in a theatrical activity. This area covers the blend of music, the rhythm, the tone, the voice and salient complement, treats in the best of creative manner. Sixthly, the spectacles in a stagecraft plays a vital role. The performance depends on the stagecraft as a spectacular activity. The term performance depends on the stagecraft it involves. So this is the process how this theater or the dramas are acting right on the stage. So you can remember those things actually. That will be important point. Then folklore and folk art. I think this is the end of this session. So folklore could be explained as an entity of wisdom drawn over the years through the oral transmission, right? So you can see folklore with this oral transmission, that means only translated through our mouth, right? Then folklore is that knowledge, heritage possessed via oral transmission. Actually this is also same like the before definition, right? The use of folk art, right? So folk art means what? Painting, right? Painting, biralu, right? Embroidery patterns, weaving mats, carving, and also those kind of musical things, right? So those kind of thing we can say those are folk art, right? So there are different functions also. You can remember those things about the folklore or the folk art, right? So this is the thing that you have to see in this lesson. Here you have folk songs, folk art, that means most of the time dramas, that means folk dramas, folk poetry, folk songs, folk, those kind of thing we call as folklore. Then here theater is there, and cinema we discussed, television, radio, newspaper, how they are using the language, right? Creative thinking and creativity, okay? and we have discussed about the creative communication. So these are the things that you have to remember in this lesson. So this is seventh lesson, creative communication. So let's see with another video. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.